In this lab, we want to build our VPC and launch a web service. So first of all, we want to create a VPC and then create subnet and configure a security group and then launch an EC2 instance into a VPC. Amazon Virtual Private Cloud or VPC enable us to launch Amazon Web Service resources into a virtual network that we define. This virtual network closely resemble a traditional network that we would operate in our data center. So first of all, we have this map. This is our scenario and we want to build this and we want to build the following infrastructure. So we have here lab VPC, and we have some of the subnet and VPC that um, we created before, and we want to add some subnet, private subnet and public subnet to this scenario. So we have subnet public one, subnet private one, and route table. And we want to just add um, lab subnet public two and lab subnet private two. So right now, first of all, we want to create a VPC. So let's see how many VPC we have to create. So we have one VPC here. So we want to add one more. Let's see what we should do. In the search box of the to the right of the services, search for and we choose VPC. We choose VPC. In the top right of the screen, verify in Virginia. So we should be in Virginia because when we create a VPC, if it's in the other area, other region, for example, if we create it in Ohio, we cannot see it in the Virginia. So VPC is sensitive for the region, but some of the things in AWS is not sensitive for the region. So we should be in Virginia until we can see VPC. So for example, let me change it to Ohio and let's see. When we change it to Ohio, it completely different. We cannot see uh, we see difference of that. There is a three subnet, one VPC, but in Virginia we have two VPC and seven subnet and something like that. So we create a VPC, we go to the VPC and dashboard and create VPC. Okay. First of all, we should choose VPC and more, and then under name tag auto generation, we keep auto generation selected. So however, for the auto generate, we want to put the lab because it's our test, whatever we want. But we should follow the lab procedure because when we get the point is regarding to the name and everything that it it says we have to put that one. So we keep IPv4 Cedar block 10.0.0.0.16 and for the for number of availability zone choose one. Number of availability zone choose one. And for number of public subnet, keep one. Number of public subnet, keep one. And number of private subnet, keep one. And expand the customize subnet cedar block section. subnet seeder block. Okay, we expand it and change the subnet seeder block to in US East 1A to 100 UCES 1A to 1000/24, and for the private subnet seeder block change it to 10.0/24. Set NAT gateway in a AZ in 1AZ. Set VPC endpoint to none. So VPC endpoint none. Keep both DNS hostname and DNS resolution enabled. So okay, we keep that one. So in the preview panel on the right, confirm the setting you have configured. So where is the preview panel? If we go up, that one is the preview panel. It shows that. So we create VPC, the name is lab VPC, and it has two subnet, one of them lab subnet public, one of them lab private, and we create route. We have a route table. It automatically assigned to the route table because we didn't change the default, so it assigned to that one. And lab route private route table, sorry, or route table. And then we have a network connection because we had it automatically added. And yeah, we can see we have it automatically create. So then we create VPC, the VPC here. I want to show you again what we are doing. So we are here, we create a subnet, that one. Sorry, regarding to the IP that we gave it. So we create a subnet public and private subnet with this IP that we created right now. So and we created 10.0.0./24 and 10.0.10/24. So right now, after that, I click on the create a VPC. We created this one and that one. Create VPC. So at the VPC resource are created. The NAT gateway will take a few minutes to active. And we have to wait until all the resources are created before we proceeding to the next step. It takes a little time more for the NAT gateway. So I want to stop the video. After that it create, I activate again. So right now we see all of them created. So if we go to the view VPC, so we can see that what we have here. It shows that VPC, subnet, route table, network connection, and it shows what we created in the previous step. It clear here, it's like a map. So we did the first step. It was so simple, it wasn't hard. So we create a VPC. Right now we want to create additional subnet. So because we have one subnet in the map, we want to add just one more subnet. So let's back to our lab. So we want to create two additional subnet for the VPC in a second availability zone. In the map, we have two AZ1 and AZ2. We want to add two subnets to zone B. And after creation of VPC, as we have already done, we can still configure in the future an extra, for example, by adding more subnet, and each subnet like we create reside entirely within one availability zone. So first of all, we should go to the subnet. In the left navigation pane, choose subnet. Okay. We have created a second public subnet. We choose create subnet, VPC ID. For the VPC ID, we choose the lab VPC because we are in the lab. Subnet name. For the subnet name, we add lab dash subnet dash public 2. And availability zone, we select the second one. US is 1B. So we want to choose the second availability zone, that is in Virginia. And for IP seeder block, so we have an IP seeder block, IP subnet seeder block. Sorry, for the IP subnet seeder block, we choose this, we change it to 10.0.2.0/24, because in the map we can find it. Yeah, we are creating this one, this subnet. So we give that IP number. The subnet will have all IP address starting with 10.0, 2, 10.0.2 point, and after the 2 point, whatever, because it's /24, it means that 10.0.2 shouldn't change, and after that 0 can change to 1, 2, 3 until 255. The subnet will have all IP address, and I already talked about that. So, and then choose create subnet. So we have our subnet here, lab subnet /public 2. So the second public subnet, if we see in the map, the second subnet, the IP should be 10.0.3.0/24, and /24, it means that 10.0.3 shouldn't change, and after that 0, 1, 2 until 255 it can change. Again, we go the same things, create subnet, VPC ID lab VPC, and the name we change it to the lab dash subnet dash private 2. Availability zone, we choose 1B, but here we should choose we choose the second availability zone, 1B. And IPv4 CIDR block is 10.0.3.0/24. The subnet will have all IP address 10.0.3, and after 3 it change 1, 2, 3, 4, and until 255. And then create a subnet. I go to the subnet and see, I can see what I created: public 2 and private 2, and yeah. So in the left navigation pane, choose route table. The second private subnet we created, we will now configure this new private subnet to route internet bound traffic to the NAT gateway. If we look at the map that we have, and in this scenario, so we have to connect them. We have to connect them to the NAT gateway. So we have to give them a NAT gateway. So we are working on a NAT gateway right now. So for that one, we have to, add it to the route table. So a route table contains a set of rules called routes that are used to determine where network traffic is directed. Each subnet in a VPC must be associated with a route table. The route table control routing for the subnet. So we go to the route table. We had route table before. We should just add our subnet to the route. Select the lab RTB private 1. Okay, I just refresh it and I see. Lab RTB private 1. Okay. In the lower pane, choose route table. So if we click on it, we can see some detail of that. We have detail, we have routes, we have subnet associate, we have edge associate. So right now we are working with the route and subnet associate. So destination, so in the route, if we go, destination 0.0.0./0 is set to the target NAT. So this means that the traffic destinate for the internet will be sent to the NAT gateway. The NAT gateway will then forward the traffic to the internet. This route table is therefore being used to route traffic from private subnet. Choose subnet association tab, that it should be here, subnet associations. Mhm. And we create this route table in task 1. So yeah, we created this route table in task 1. When we choose to create a VPC and multiple resource in the VPC, that action also created a lab subnet private one and associated to that subnet with this route table. Now that we created another private subnet, so lab, that is the lab subnet private 2, we will associate this route table with that subnet as well. In the explicit subnet association panel, we choose edit subnet association, and then leave subnet private 1 US is 1A, select that one selected, and we add the other one, that is lab subnet private 2. So we want to add two private subnet to this route table. So choose the safe associations, and uh, right now we will configure the route table that is used by public subnet. So we are done with the private. Right now we're gonna do it with the public subnet. We select the lab RTB public route table and deselect any other things. So lab RTB, that one, and nothing else is here. Is select. So again, in the lower pan, choose route. So we can see destination 0.0.0/0 is set to target IGW for this one. It goes to the NAT. So I selected private. It was my bad. I have to back and create a public. Lab RTB public. And then when I go to the root, I can see that destination 0.0.0./0 is set to the target IGW, which is an internet gateway. So this means that internet bound traffic will be sent straight to the internet to this internet gateway. Right now, we will associate this route table to the second public subnet that we created. Choose subnet association. That is here. Subnet association. And then edit subnet associations. Leaves. So we have a lab subnet public 1. We just wanna add this one, and we select the lab subnet public 2 because we were done with the private. Right now we wanna add the public. So save association, Okay, so our VPC now has public and private subnet configured into availability zone. The route table that we create in task 1 have also been updated to the route network traffic to the two new subnet. So right now we are done with create a subnet. Right now we want to configure a security group. We go to our AWS. We're gonna create a VPC security group which act as a virtual firewall. When we launch an instance, we associate one or more security group with the instance. We can add rules to each security group that allow traffic to or from its associated instance. In the left navigation pane, we choose security group. Let's see where is the security group. It's here. Create a security group. Security group name. Where is the name? It's here. Security group name is web security. It's better to the security group and description. We add enable HTTP access and the VPC lab VPC. So in the inbound rules, we want to add rule. Configure the following setting. Type HTTP. In the type we put HTTP and source anywhere IPv4. For the description, permit web require. Say permit web request. Scroll to the bottom of the page and choose create group. Go there, create security group. We are done with this step that says configure security group. So in task 4, we launch a web server, an EC2 instance into a VPC. We want to launch a web server instance. In this task, we will launch an Amazon EC2 instance into the new VPC. We will configure the instance to act as a web server. So first of all, we should go to the EC2. I have my EC2 here. I add it as a favorite in my in toolbar. I don't have to look at that. So from launch instance, we choose launch instance. We give the name. The name I want to give web server 1. When we name our instance, AWS create a tag and associate it with the instance. A tag is a key value pair. The key when we use it, when we wanna SSH, or we wanna have the secure port, your secure line, we use it as a as a key. So we choose an AMI for that one. In the list of availability quick start, we keep a default that is Amazon Linux, and also keep the default as Amazon Linux 2023 AMI. The type of Amazon machine image or AMI that we choose determine operating system that will run on the EC2 instance that will launch. And instance type, we put the T2 micro. Where is the instance type? That is here. T2 micro because it's free and cheaper. And after that, we select the key pair to associate with the instance. And then in the key pair, that is the next step, we select the row key. So as I mentioned earlier, the key pair we selected allows us to connect to this instance through SSH after it has launched. So we don't need it for this lab, but just for our information, the key pair help us to connect to the SSH. And the next step, configure the network setting. Let's see. Network setting. Next to network setting, choose edit. Network lab VPC. We choose lab VPC. Subnet is lab subnet public 2. Lab subnet public 2. And auto assign public IP enable. It should be enabled. Next, we need configure the instance to use web security group that we created earlier. Under firewall, security group, choose select existing security group. Okay, that's we select this one. For common security groups, select web security group. Next step, web security group. Yeah. In the configuration storage, in the configure storage section, keep the default setting. We keep the default setting. The default setting specify that the root volume of the instance which will host the Amazon Linux guest operating system that we specified earlier will run on general purpose SSD or GP3 hard drive that is 8 GB in size, and we could alternatively add more storage volume. However, it's not a need that's in the lab. We don't need it in the lab. Configuration script to run on the instance. when it launch. So let's go and expand the advanced detail. Expand the advanced detail panel. Scroll down, scroll to the bottom of the page, and then we copy and paste the code. Which code I should copy and paste? It's in the lab. I go to the lab, it's here. That one. Just copy and paste here. What is this script? This script run with the root user permission on the guest operation system of the instance. It will run automatically when the instance launch for first time. And the script install a web server, a database, and PHP library, and then download and install a PHP web application on the web server. And then at the bottom of the summary launch instance. And then view all instance. We want to see view all instance. Okay. Until web server 1 shows 2. It's not yet 2/2. It's uh, initializing. Okay, right now we see it shows 2/2 and web server 1 created. So right now we create a web server 1. We selected copy public IP DNS. Public IP DNS based IP DNS. That's one. We copy that one and open a new web browser tab. Just create, open a new, and press enter and paste and enter. And after enter, we should see our website. Yeah. So we see our page displaying the AWS logo and instance metadata. And so just delete. Let's do it again. So we should see our instance and availability zone. So our lab is done. We can submit it. Everything is done. So I see you. I think it's done. It's enough for today. So I will see you with lab 3 and more lab in the future. Thank you for attention. And so that was for today.